Chapter 2, Tangible Non-Current Assets, Chapter Learning Objectives. Upon completion of this chapter, you will be able to 1. Define the cost of a non-current asset. 2nd, calculate the initial cost measurement of a non-current asset. 3rd, calculate the initial cost measurement of a self-constructed non-current asset. 4th bullet, distinguish between capital and revenue expenditure. Next bullet, identify the subsequent expenditure that may be capitalized. Next bullet, explain the treatment of borrowing cost as per IAS 23. Next bullet, explain the requirement of IAS 16 in relation to the revaluation of non-current assets. Next, account for revaluation of non-current assets. Next, account for gain and losses on disposal of non-current assets. Next, calculate depreciation based on the cost model. Next, calculate depreciation based on the revaluation model. Next, calculate depreciation on assets that have two or more significant parts, complex assets. Next bullet, apply the provisions of IAS 20 in relation to accounting for government grants. Next bullet, define investment properties. Next bullet, discuss why the treatment of investment properties should differ from other properties. Next bullet, apply the requirement of IAS 40 for investment properties. This chapter provides a recap from financial accounting, then builds on that knowledge. The principles of the knowledge gained will also be seen in strategic business reporting. This chapter also provides information on evidence useful in audit and assurance. PER, one of the PER performance objective, PO6, is to record and process transactions and events. You use the right accounting treatments for transactions and events. These should be both historical and prospective and include non-routine transactions. Working through this chapter should help you understand how to demonstrate that objective. Tangible non-current assets and investment properties IAS 40. Tangible non-current asset measurement IAS 16, depreciation IAS 16, change in method, change in estimates, components and overhaul cost, revaluation IAS 16, accounting, depreciation of revalued asset, disposal of revalued asset, borrowing cost IAS 23, government grants IAS 20, revenue grants, capital grants. Section 1, IAS 16, Property, Plant and Equipment. Property, plant and equipment. Property, plant and equipment are tangible assets held by an entity for more than one accounting period for use in the production or supply of goods or services, for rental to others, or for administrative purposes. Recognition. An item of property, plant and equipment should be recognized as an asset when it is probable that future economic benefits associated with the asset will flow to the entity, and the cost of the asset can be measured reliably. IAS 16, Para 7. Initial measurement. An item of property, plant and equipment should initially be measured at its cost. First bullet, include all costs involved in bringing the asset into working condition. Second bullet, include in this initial cost capital costs such as the cost of site preparation, delivery costs, installation costs, borrowing costs in accordance with IAS 23. See later in this chapter. Third bullet, revenue costs which should be written off as incurred. Fourth, dismantling cost. The present value of these costs should be capitalized with an equivalent liability set up. The discount on this liability would then be unwound over the period until the dismantling costs are paid. This means that the liability increases by the interest rate each year, with the increase taken to finance costs in the statement of profit or loss. You may need to use the interest rate given and apply the discount fraction, where R is the interest rate and N is the number of years to settlement, 1 upon 1 plus R raised to power N. Illustration 1. If an oil rig was built in the sea, the cost to be capitalized is likely to include the cost of constructing the asset and the present value of the cost of dismantling it. If the assets cost $10 million to construct and would cost $4 million to remove in 20 years, then the present value of this dismantling cost must be calculated. If interest rates were 5%, the present value of the dismantling costs are calculated as follows: 4 million into 1 upon 1.05 raised to power 20, that is 15,07,558. The total to be capitalized would be 10 million plus 1507558 This would be depreciated over 20 years, so 1,1507558 into 1 by 20, $575,378 per year. Each year the liability would be increased by the interest rate of 5%. In year 1, this would mean the liability increases by $75,378, making the year-end liability of $15,82,936. This increase is taken to the finance cost in the statement of profit or loss. Test your understanding 1. An entity started construction of a building for its own use on 1st April 2017 and incurred the following cost: thousands, purchase price of land 250,000, stamp duty 5,000, legal fees 10,000, site preparation and clearance 18,000, materials 100,000, labor period 1st April 2017 to 1st July 2018 150,000, architect fees 20,000, general overhead 30,000, total 583,000. The following information is also relevant. Material costs were greater than anticipated. On investigation, it was found that material costing $10 million had been spoiled and therefore wasted, and a further $15 million was incurred on materials as a result of faulty design work. As a result of these problems, work on the building ceased for a fortnight during October 2017, and it is estimated that approximately $9 million of the labor costs relate to this period. Third, the building was completed on 1st July 2018 and occupied on 1st September 2018. You are required to calculate the cost of the building that will be included in tangible non-current asset additions. Answer TYU 1. Only those costs which are directly attributable to bringing the asset into working condition for its intended use should be included. Administration and other general overhead costs cannot be included. Costs included should only be normal, not abnormal costs. The amount included in property, plant and equipment is computed as follows: total $1,000, exclude $1,000, include $1,000. Purchase price of land include $250,000 and total. Stamp duty 5,000 include and total. Legal fees 10,000 include and total. Site preparation and clearance 18,000 include and total. Materials note 1. The cost of supplied material and faulty design are abnormal cost. So 25,000 is excluded. And 75,000 is included. So 100,000 is included. Total is 100,000. 25,000 exclude and 75,000 include. Labor note 2. The $9 million labor cost incurred during the period of stoppage is an abnormal cost and is excluded. So 9,000 is excluded. 1,41,000 is included. 150,000 is total. Architect fees 20,000 included. General overhead 30,000 excluded. So total is 583,000. Cost 64,000 is excluded and included is 519,000. So 519,000 is the cost of the building, which will be included in tangible non-current asset addition. Answer complete. Subsequent expenditure. Subsequent expenditure on property, plant and equipment should only be capitalized if, first bullet, it enhances the economic benefits provided by the asset. This could be extending the asset's life, an expansion or increasing the productivity of the asset. Or second, it relates to an overhaul or required major inspection of the asset. The cost associated with this should be capitalized and depreciated over the time until the next overhaul or safety inspection. Third bullet, it is replacing a component of a complex asset. The replaced component will be derecognized, and a complex asset is an asset made up of a number of components with which each depreciate at different rates. For example, an aircraft would comprise body, engines and interior. All other subsequent expenditure should be recognized in the statement of profit or loss because it merely maintains the economic benefits originally expected. For example, the cost of general repair should be written off immediately. Revenue expenditure. Illustration 2. Subsequent expenditure. A piece of machinery has an annual service costing $10,000. During the most recent service, it was decided to replace part of the engineering, meaning that it will work faster and produce more units of product per hour. The cost of the replacement part is $20,000. Would this expenditure be treated as capital or revenue expenditure? Solution: the $10,000 servicing cost is revenue expenditure written off to the statement of profit or loss. $20,000 replacement part enhances future economic benefits and so is capital expenditure and increases the cost of non-current assets in the statement of financial position. Answer complete. Section 2. Depreciation. Depreciation. Definitions. Depreciation is the systematic allocation of the depreciable amount of an asset over its useful life. IAS 16 para 6. Depreciable amount is the cost of an asset or other amount substituted for cost less its residual value. IAS 16 para 6. Depreciation must be charged from the date the asset is available for use, that is, it is capable of operating in the manner intended by management. This may be earlier than the date it is actually brought into use. For example, if staff need to be trained to use it, depreciation is continued even if the asset is idle. The depreciation method should reflect as fairly as possible the pattern in which the asset's economic benefits are consumed by the entity. Possible methods include straight line, reducing balance, machine hours. A change from one method of providing depreciation to another is permissible only on the grounds that the new method will give a fairer presentations of the results and of the financial position, does not constitute a change of accounting policy, and is a change in accounting estimate. The carrying amount should be written off over the remaining useful life, commencing with the period in which the change is made. If an asset is classed as a complex asset, it may be thought of as having separate components within a single asset. For example, an engine within an aircraft will need replacing before the body of the aircraft needs replacing. Each separate part of the asset should be depreciated over its useful life. Illustration 3. Depreciable amount. An asset costs $100,000 and has an expected useful life of 10 years. The purchaser intends to use the asset for 6 years, at which point the expected residual value will be $40,000 at current prices. What is the depreciable amount? Solution: the depreciable amount is $100,000 minus $40,000 is equal to $60,000 spread over 6 years. Answer complete. Review of useful lives and residual values. Useful life and residual value should be reviewed at the end of each reporting period and revised if expectations are significantly different from previous estimates. The carrying amount of the asset at the date of revision less any residual value should be depreciated over the revised remaining useful life. Illustration 4. Revision of useful life. An entity purchased an asset for $20,000 on 1st January 2013. Straight-line depreciation of $5,000 per annum has been charged, assuming a 4-year useful life with no residual value. On 1st January 2015, the annual review of asset life was undertaken and the remaining useful life for this asset was estimated at 4 years. The financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2015 are being prepared. What is the depreciation charge for the year ended 31st December 2015? Solution: the depreciation charge for the current and future years will be current carrying amount as at 31st December 2014, $20,000 minus $5,000 to $10,000. Remaining useful life as at 1st January 2015, 4 years. Annual depreciation charge $10,000 upon 4 years, $2,500. Major inspection or overhauling cost. Inspection and overhaul costs are generally expensed as they are incurred. They are, however, capitalized as a non-current asset to the extent that they satisfy the IAS 16 rules for separate components. Where this is the case, they are then depreciated over their useful lives, that is, until the next inspection or overhaul is due. Illustration 5. Overhaul costs. An entity purchases an aircraft that has an expected useful life of 20 years with no residual value. The aircraft required substantial overhaul at the end of years 5, 10 and 15. The aircraft cost $25 million and $5 million of this figure is estimated to be attributable to the economic benefits that are restored by the overheads. In year 6, the cost of the overhaul is estimated to be $6 million. Calculate the annual depreciation charge for the years 1 to 5 and years 6 to 10. Solution. The aircraft is treated as two separate components for depreciation purposes. Year 1 to 5 initial overhaul value 5 million depreciated over 5 years, balance of 20 million depreciated over 20 years. 5 upon 5 1 million initial overhaul depreciation, 20 million upon 20 years 1 million. Depreciation charge per annum is 2 million. When the first overhaul is completed at the end of year 5 at a cost of say 6 million, then this cost is capitalized and depreciated to the date of next overhaul. Overall 6 million, depreciated over 5 years 1.2 million. Aircraft depreciation 1 million, depreciation charge per annum 2.2 million. Answer complete. Section 3, Revaluation of non-current assets. IAS 16 treatments. IAS 16 allows a choice of accounting treatment for property, plant and equipment. 1. The cost model. Second bullet, the revaluation model. The cost model. Property, plant and equipment should be valued at cost less accumulated depreciation. The revaluation model. Property, plant and equipment may be carried at a revalued amount less any subsequent accumulated depreciation. If the revaluation alternative is adopted, two conditions must be complied with. Revaluation must subsequently be made with sufficient regularity to ensure that the carrying amount does not differ materially from the fair value at each reporting date. When an item of property, plant and equipment is revalued, the entire class of assets to which the item belongs must be revalued. Accounting for a revaluation steps. 1. Restate assets cost to the new valuation. 2. Eliminate any existing accumulated depreciation for the asset. 3. Show the total increase in other comprehensive income at the foot of the statement of profit or loss. This would then be taken to the revaluation surplus, much like the profit for the year gets taken to retained earning. Journal. Assuming revalued amount is greater than the original cost. Debit non-current asset or valuation, revalued amount minus cost amount. Debit accumulated depreciation, eliminate accumulated balance amount. Credit other comprehensive income, revaluation credit amount. Recognizing revaluation gain and losses. Revaluation gains are recorded as a component of other comprehensive income, either within the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income or in a separate statement. This gain is then carried in a revaluation surplus within equity. This revaluation surplus is a capital reserve and is therefore not permitted to be distributed to the shareholders. Revaluation losses, which represent an impairment of the asset value, are recognized in the statement of profit or loss. When a revaluation loss arises on a previously revalued asset, it should be deducted first against the previous revaluation gain and can therefore be taken to other comprehensive income in the year. Any excess impairment will then be recorded as an impairment expense in the statement of profit or loss. Note that offset of gains and losses between different properties is not permitted. Illustration 6. Recognition of revaluation of non-current asset, recognition of revaluation gain. An entity revalues its buildings and decides to incorporate the revaluation into its financial statements. $1,000 extract from the statement of financial position at 31st December 2017. Buildings cost $1,200, depreciation $144, $1,056 is total. The building is revalued at 1st January 2018 at $1,400,000. Its useful life is 40 years at that date. Show the relevant extracts from the financial statement at 31st December 2018. Solution. The relevant extracts from the financial statements as at 31st December 18 are as follows. Statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income extract. Depreciation working 135. Working 1 PP note. Land and building 1056. Revaluation 344. Valuation 1400. Depreciation 1400 upon 40. 35. 31st December 18. 1365. Depreciation working 135. Other comprehensive income gain on revaluation working note 1 344. Statement of financial position extract Non-current asset, land and building 1365, working note 1, equity revaluation surplus SOCIE 344, statement of changes in equity revaluation surplus $1,000, 1st January 2018, brought forward balance 0, revaluation gain working note 1 344, 31st December 18, carried forward balance 344. Answer complete. Depreciation of revalued assets. Once an asset has been revalued, the following treatment is required. First bullet, depreciation must be charged based on valuation less residual value over the remaining useful life of the asset. The whole charge must go to the statement of profit or loss for the year. Third, an annual reserve transfer may be made from revaluation surplus to retained earning for the additional depreciation charged on the revalued amount compared to cost. This permitted treatment under IAS 16 is to address the imbalance between a non-distributable gain held in revaluation surplus and the reduction in retained earning due to the increased depreciation charge. Fourth bullet, this transfer should be shown on the SOCIE journal statement of profit or loss, depreciation charge debit to accumulate depreciation credit, and revaluation surplus depreciation on valuation minus depreciation on original cost debit to retained earning amount. Note, the transfer is not part of the other comprehensive income. It is shown on the SOCIE only. Test your understanding too. On 1st April 2018, the fair value of Zoo's property was $100,000 with a remaining life of 20 years. Zoo policy is to revalue its property at each year end. At 31st March 2019, the property was valued at $86,000. The balance on the revaluation surplus at 1st April 18 was $20,000, which relates entirely to the property. Zoo does not make a transfer to realize profit in respect of excess depreciation required. Prepare extracts of Zoo's financial statement for the year ended 31st March 2019 reflecting the above information. Second, state how the accounting would be different if the opening revaluation surplus did not exist. Answer TYU 2. Extracts from the financial statement for Zoo at 31st March 2019. Statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. Extract depreciation working 1 5,000, working 1 depreciation 100,000 upon 20 5,000. Other comprehensive income revaluation loss working note 2 9,000. Revaluation carrying amount of leasehold at 31st March 2019 1 lakh minus 5,000 working 1 95,000. Leasehold valuation at 31st March 2019 86,000. So loss on revaluation 9,000. Statement of financial position extract non-current asset property at valuation 86,000. Equity revaluation surplus 20,000 minus 9,000 11,000. If the opening statement of changes in equity extract balance at 1st April 18 20,000. Revaluation of leasehold working note 2 9,000 less balance at 31st March 2019 11,000. Second, if the opening revaluation surplus did not exist, then the revaluation loss of $9,000 would need to be taken through the statement of profit or loss as an impairment expense. Answer complete. Understanding 3. An entity revalued its land and building at the start of the year to $60 million, $15 million for the land. The property cost $30 million, $6 million for the land 10 years prior to the revaluation. The total expected useful life of 40 years remained unchanged. The entity's policy is to make an annual transfer of realized amount to retained earning. Show the effects of the above on the financial statement for the year. Test your understanding 3. Statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. Extract depreciation working 1 1500. Cost 6,000. Land building 24,000. Total 30,000. All figure are in $1,000. Depreciation 10 by 40. 6,000 for building. 6,000 total. Carrying amount 6,000. 18,000. 24,000. Revaluation gain 9,000 on land. 27,000 on building. Total 36,000. Revaluation amount 15,000 of land. Building 45,000. Total 60,000. Depreciation 1 by 30 on building. 1500 deduct from building and 1500 from total. So balance is 15,000 land, 43,500 building, and total is 58,500. Depreciation working months is 1,500. Revaluation gain 36,000. Statement of financial position extract. Non-current asset land and building 58,500. Equity revaluation surplus SOCIE 35,100. Statement of changes in equity. Extract revaluation surplus $1,000. Balance brought forward 36,000. Revaluation gain balance brought forward 0. Revaluation surplus. Revaluation gain 36,000. Transfer to retained earning 900. And balance carried forward is 35,100. So this completes the answer. The working note 2, annual transfer. New depreciation 1,500. Old depreciation 24 million upon 40 years. So 600. Annual transfer 900. Answer complete. Disposal of revalued non-current assets. The profit or loss on disposal of a revalued non-current asset should be calculated as the difference between the net sale proceeds and the carrying amount. There are two steps to the disposing of a revalued asset. One, it should be accounted for in the statement of profit or loss of the period in which the disposal occurs. Second, any balance on the revaluation surplus relating to this asset should now be transferred to the retained earning. Note, this does not affect other comprehensive income, which is only altered when the asset is actually revalued upwards or downwards. Test your understanding. 4. Derek purchased a property costing £750,000 on on 1st January 2014 with a useful life of 10 years. It has no residual value. At 31st December 14, the property was valued at $810,000, resulting in a gain on revaluation being recorded in other comprehensive income of $135,000. There was no charge in its useful life. Derek does not make a transfer to realized profit in respect of excess depreciation on revalued asset. On 31st December 2016, the property was sold for $900,000 required. How should the disposal on the previously revalued asset be treated in the financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2016? Answer TYU 4. Profits on disposal. Sale proceeds 900. Valuation at 31st December 14, 810. Less depreciation, 810 divided by 9 into 2, 180. So carrying amount at 31st December 2016, 630. Profit on disposal 270. Transfer remaining balance on revaluation surplus. Revaluation surplus debit to retained earning 135, 135. Answer complete. Section 4, IS 20, Accounting for Government Grants and Disclosure of Government Assistance. Introduction. Governments often provide money or incentives to companies to export their goods or to promote local employment. Government grants could be revenue grants, for example, contribution towards payroll cost. Capital grants, for example, contribution towards purchase of non-current assets. General principle. The IS 20 follows two general principles when determining the treatment of grants. Prudence. Grant should not be recognized until the conditions for receipts have been complied with and there is a reasonable assurance that the grant will be received. Accruals. Grant should be matched with the expenditure towards which they were intended to contribute. Definitions. IS 20 para 3. Government refers to government agencies and similar bodies, whether local, national or international. Government assistance is action by government designed to provide an economic benefit specific to an entity or range of entities qualifying under certain criteria. For example, the grant of a local operating license. Government grants are assistance by government in the form of transfer of resources to an entity in return for past or future compliance with certain conditions relating to the operating activities of the entity. Grants related to assets are government grants whose primary condition is that an entity qualifying for them should purchase, construct, or otherwise acquire long-term assets. Grants related to income are government grants other than those related to assets known as revenue grants. Revenue grants. The recognition of the grant will depend upon the circumstances. If the grant is paid when evidence is produced that certain expenditure has been incurred, the grant should be matched with that expenditure. Second, if the grant is paid on a different basis, for example, achievement of a non-financial objective such as the creation of a specified number of new jobs, the grant should be matched with the identifiable cost of achieving that objective. Presentation of revenue grants. IAS 20 allows such grants to either be presented as a credit in the statement of profit or loss or deducted from the related expense. Revenue grant presentation. Presentation as credit in the statement of profit or loss. Supporters of this method claim that it is inappropriate to net income and expense items and that separation of the grant from the expense facilitates comparison with other expenses not affected by a grant. IAS 20 para 30. Deduction from related expense. It is argued that with this method, the expenses might well not have been incurred by the entity if the grant had not been available, and presentation of the expense without offsetting the grant may therefore be misleading. IAS 20 para 30. Illustration 7. An entity is given $300,000 on 1st January 2011 to keep staff employed within a deprived area. The entity must not make redundancies for the next 3 years or the grant will need to be repaid. On 31st December 2011, no redundancies have taken place and none are planned. The grant should be released over 3 years, meaning that $100,000 is taken to the statement of profit or loss each year. This can be shown as a separate line in the statement of profit or loss or deducted from administrative expenses or wherever the staff costs are charged. As $100,000 has been released to the statement of profit or loss, the remaining $200,000 will be held in deferred income to be recognized over the next 2 years. Of this, $100,000 will be released within the next year, so will be held within the current liability. The remaining $100,000 will be held as a non-current liability. Answer complete. Capital grants. IAS 20 permits two treatments. 1. Write off the grant against the cost of the non-current asset and depreciate the reduced cost. 2nd. Treat the grant as a deferred credit and transfer a portion to revenue each year, so offsetting the higher depreciation charge on the original cost. Treatment of capital grants. Grants for purchase of non-current assets should be recognized over the expected useful life of the related assets. IAS 20 permits two treatments. Both treatments are equally acceptable and capable of giving a fair presentation. Method 1. On initial recognition, deduct the grant from the cost of the non-current asset and depreciate the reduced cost. Method 2. Recognize the grant initially as deferred income and transfer a portion to revenue each year, so offsetting the higher depreciation charge based on the original cost. Method 1 is obviously far simpler to operate. Method 2, however, has the advantage of ensuring that assets acquired at different times and in different locations are recorded on a uniform basis regardless of changes in government policy. In some countries, legislation requires that non-current assets should be stated by companies at purchase price, and this is defined as actual price paid plus any additional expenses. Legal opinion on this matter is that enterprise subject to such legislation should not deduct grants from cost. In such countries, method 1 may only be adopted by unincorporated bodies. Test your understanding. 5. Capital grants. An entity opens a new factory and receives a government grant of $15,000 in respect of capital equipment costing $100,000. It depreciates all plant and machinery at 20% straight line. Show the statement of profit or loss and statement of financial position extracts in respect of the grant in the first year under both methods. Other types of government assistance may include the provision of interest-free loans or guarantees. These should be disclosed in the notes to the accounts. Repayment of grants. In some cases, grant may need to be repaid if the conditions of the grant are breached. If there is an obligation to repay the grant and the repayment is probable, then it should be provided for in accordance with the requirement of IS 37, see Chapter 15. Test your understanding. 5. Capital grants. An entity opens a new factory and receives a government grant of $15,000 in respect of capital equipment costing $100,000. It depreciates all plant and machinery at 20% per annum straight line. Show the statement of profit or loss and statement of financial position extracts in respect of the grant in the first year under both methods. Answer. TYU 5. Method 1. Deduct from asset. Statement of profit or loss. Extract depreciation 85,000 into 20%, 17,000. Non-statement of financial position. Extract non-current asset, plant and machinery 100,000 minus 15,000, 85,000, less accumulated depreciation 17,000. So balance is 68,000. Method 2. Treat grant as deferred income. Statement of profit or loss. Extract depreciation 1 lakh into 20%, 20,000. Government grant credit. Working 1. 3,000. Working 1. Government grant cash received credit 15,000. Transfer to profit or loss 15,000 to 20%, 3,000. Balance carried forward 12,000. So government grant credit 3,000. Statement of financial position. Extract non-current asset, plant and machinery 1 lakh. Accumulated depreciation 20,000. So balance is 80,000. Non-current liability, government grant 12,000. Working 1 minus 3,000 non-current liability 9,000 government grant, and current liability government grant is 3,000. 15,000 to 20%, 3,000. Answer complete. Other types of government assistance may include the provision of interest-free loans or guarantees. These should be disclosed in the notes to accounts. Repayment of grants. In some cases, grants may need to be repaid if the conditions of the grant are breached. If there is an obligation to repay the grant and the repayment is probable, then it should be provided for in accordance with the requirements of IS 37, see Chapter 15. If the deferred income method for capital grants has been used, then the remaining grant would be repaid to the government, and any amounts released to profit or loss may also need to be reversed depending on the level of repayment required. In the netting off method for capital grants has been used, then the cost of the asset must be increased to recognize the full cost of the asset without the grant. A liability will be set up for the grant repayment. Section 5. IS 23 Borrowing Cost. IS 23 Treatment. IS 23 Borrowing Cost regulates the extent to which entities are allowed to capitalize borrowing costs incurred on money borrowed to finance the acquisition of certain assets. Borrowing cost must be capitalized as part of the cost of an asset if the asset is a qualifying asset, 1, which necessarily takes a substantial period of time to get ready for its intended use or sale, IS 23 para 5. Commencement of capitalization. IS 23 states that capitalization of borrowing costs should commence when all of the following conditions are met. 1. Expenditure for the asset is being incurred. Borrowing costs are being incurred. Activities that are necessary to prepare the asset for its intended use or sale are in progress. The rate of interest to be taken. Where funds are borrowed specifically to acquire a qualifying asset, borrowing costs which may be capitalized are those actually incurred, less any investment income on the temporary investment of the borrowings during the capitalization period. Test your understanding. 6. Wilson received an $18 million 5% loan on 1st January 2018 to finance construction of a new factory. As the funds were not all required immediately, Wilson invested $6 million in 2% bonds until 31st May 2018. Construction of the factory began on 1st March 2018 and was completed on 31st December 18. Calculate the amount of interest to be capitalized in respect of the factory as at 31st December 2018. Answer. TYU 6. Interest will only be capitalized during the period of construction from 1st March 2018 to 31st December 18, that is 10 months. Any interest earned during the period of construction will be deducted from the capitalized cost. Interest incurred or earned before construction commences will be recognized within the statement of profit or loss. Interest payable 18 million into 5%, 900,000. Pre-construction charge to SPL 18 million into 5% into 2 by 12, 150. Capitalized interest cost 750. Interest earned 6 million into 2% into 5 by 12, 50. Pre-construction credited to a statement of profit or loss, 6 million into 2% into 2 by 12. So 30,000 is deducted from 750. Net interest capitalized 720. Answer complete. Where funds for the project are taken from general borrowing, the weighted average cost of general borrowing is taken. Illustration 8. If an entity had a $10 million 6% loan and a $2 million 8% loan, the weighted average cost of borrowing is 10 million into 6% plus 2 million into 8% upon 12 million, 760 upon 12 million, 6.33. The amount to be capitalized would be the amount spent on the asset multiplied by 6.33% per annum. Answer complete. Cessation of capitalization. Capitalization of borrowing costs should cease when either substantially all the activities necessary to prepare the qualifying asset for its intended use or sale are complete, IS 23 para 21, or construction is suspended, for example, due to industrial disputes. Test your understanding 7. On 1st January 2015, Syensqo began to construct a supermarket which had an estimated useful life of 40 years. It purchased the site for $25 million. The construction of the building cost $9 million and the fixtures and fitting cost $6 million. The construction of the supermarket was completed on 30th September 2015 and it was brought into use on 1st January 2016. Syensqo borrowed $40 million on 1st January 2015 in order to finance this project. The loan carried interest at 10% per annum. It was repaid on 30th June 2016. Required. Calculate the total amount to be included at cost in property, plant and equipment in respect of this development at 31st December 2015. Answer TYU 7. Total amount to be included in property, plant and equipment at 31st December 2015 is site $25,000, thousands, building 9,000, fitting 6,000, interest capitalized 40,000 into 10% into 9 by 12, 3,000, 43,000. Only 9-month interest can be capitalized because IS 23 states that capitalization of borrowing cost must cease when substantially all the activities necessary to prepare the asset for its intended use or sale are complete. Answer complete. Section 6, IS 40 investment property. IS 40 definition. Investment property is land or a building held to earn rentals or for capital appreciation or both, IS 40 para 5, rather than for use by the entity or for sale in the ordinary course of business. Owner occupied property is excluded from the definition of investment property, so these are properties not used by the entity in general operations. These could be spare properties rented out to third parties or specifically bought in order to profit from a gain in value. There could be a situation where a building can be accounted for in two different ways. If an entity occupies a premises but rents out certain floors to other companies, then the part occupied will be classed as property, plant and equipment per IS 16, while the floors rented out classed as investment property as per IS 40. Consolidated accounts. If a building is rented by a subsidiary of the entity, then the building will be classed as an investment property in the individual account but will be classed as property, plant and equipment per IS 16 in the consolidated financial statements. This is because the asset will be used by the group, so must be accounted for in accordance with IS 16. Accounting treatment. Investment properties should initially be measured at cost. IS 40 then gives a choice for a subsequent measurement between the following: cost model, the fair value model. Once the model is chosen, it must be used for all investment properties. Cost model. Under the cost model, the asset should be accounted for in line with the cost model laid out in IAS 16. Fair value model. Under the fair value model, the asset is revalued to fair value at the end of each year. The gain or loss is shown directly in the statement of profit or loss, not other comprehensive income. No depreciation is charged on the asset. Fair value is normally established by reference to current prices on an active market for properties in the same location and condition. Test your understanding 8. Salin, a manufacturing entity, purchased a property for $1 million on 1st January 2011 for its investment potential. The land element of the cost is believed to be $400,000 and the building element is expected to have a useful life of 50 years. At 31st December 11, local property indices suggest that the fair value of the property has risen to $1.1 million. Required show how the property would be presented in the financial statement as at 31st December 11 if Salin adopts A. the cost model, B. the fair value model. Answer TYU 8. Cost model. A. Depreciation in the year is $12,000, building 66 lakh into 1 by 50, $12,000. Therefore, in the statement of profit or loss, there will be a depreciation charge of $12,000. In the statement of financial position, the property will be shown at a carrying amount of 10 lakh minus 12,000, 9 lakh 88,000. B. Fair value model. In the statement of financial position, the property will be shown at its fair value of $1.1 million. In the statement of profit or loss, there will be a gain of $0.1 million representing the fair value adjustment. No depreciation is charged. Answer complete. If any asset is transferred from property, plant, equipment to investment property and the fair value model for investment property is used, the asset must first be revalued as per IAS 16, creating a revaluation surplus in equity and then transferred into investment property at fair value. If the cost model is used for investment properties, the asset is transferred into investment property at the current carrying amount and it continues to be depreciated. If an asset is transferred from investment property to property, plant and equipment and the fair value model for investment property is used, revalue the property first as per IAS 40, taking the gain or loss to the statement of profit or loss and then transfer to property, plant, equipment at fair value. If the cost model is used for investment properties, the asset is transferred into property, plant, equipment at the current carrying amount and continues to be depreciated. Test your understanding 9. Kylie Company purchased an investment property some years ago and carries it under the fair value model. At 1st January 2011, the property had a fair value in Kylie Company's financial statement of $12 million. On 1st July 2011, Kylie Company decided to move into the property and use it for its own business. At this date, the asset had a fair value of $14 million and a remaining useful life of 14 years. What amount should be recorded in Kylie's Company's statement of profit or loss for the year ended 31st December 2011? Answer TYU 9. On the date the Kylie Company moves into the property, it should be classed as property, plant and equipment. As Kylie Company uses the fair value model for investment property, this should be revalued to fair value at the date of reclassification, resulting in a fair value gain of $2 million being recorded in the statement of profit or loss. Following this, the asset should then be depreciated over its remaining useful life of 14 years. Therefore, Kylie Company will have a depreciation expense of $500,000 being 14 million upon 14 years for the last 6 months of the year. Answer complete. Chapter Summary, Section 7. Tangible non-current assets, measurement IAS 16, cost of bringing asset into working condition, depreciation IAS 16, allocation of depreciable amount of an asset over its useful life, change in method permissible for fair presentation, apply new method to carrying amount at the date of change in estimate, calculate depreciation based on amended estimates from date of change, components and overhaul costs separately depreciable. Revaluation IAS 16, accounting gain, record as components of other comprehensive income, gain revaluation surplus, loss representing impairment, take to statement of profit or loss, depreciation of revalued asset over remaining useful life, transfer excess depreciation from revaluation surplus to retained earning, disposal of revalued asset, accounting for disposal as normal, transfer balance on revaluation surplus to retained earning. Borrowing cost IS 23, capitalized during construction. Government grants IS 20, revenue grants credit in statement of profit or loss or deduct from related expenses. Capital grants either net off the cost of the asset or defer the grant and release over the asset life. Investment properties, cost model, hold at cost minus depreciation, fair value model, revalue at each year end. Test your understanding 10. During the year to 30th September 2013, Hudson built a new mining facility to take advantage of new laws regarding onshore gas extraction. The construction of the facility cost $10 million, and to fund this, Hudson took out a $10 million 6% loan on 1st October 2012, which will not be repaid until 2016. The 6% interest was paid on 30th September 2013. Construction work began on 1st October 2012 and the work was completed on 31st August 2013. As not all the funds were required immediately, Hudson invested $3 million of the loan in 4% bonds from 1st October 22 until 31st January 23. Mining commenced on 1st September 2013 and is expected to continue for 10 years. As a condition of being allowed to construct the facility, Hudson is required by law to dismantle it on 1st October 2013. Hudson estimated that this would cost a further $3 million. As the equipment is extremely specialized, Hudson invested significant resources in recruiting and training employees. Hudson spent $600,000 on this process in the year to 30th September 13, believing it to be worthwhile as it anticipates that most employees will remain on the project for the entire 10-year duration. Hudson has a cost of capital of 6%. Required show using extract the correct financial reporting treatment for the above items in the financial statement for Hudson for the year ended 30th September 2013. Answer TYU 10. Statement of profit or loss for year ended 30th September 13. Depreciation working 3. Working 3, property, plant, equipment, construction cost $10 million. Borrowing cost capitalized working 1, 510,000. Borrowing cost working 1, the interest should be capitalized from 1st October to 1st September. Net of the income earned from the temporary investment of the 3 million for the 4 months. Interest payable 10 million into 6%, 6 lakh into 11 by 12, 5 lakh 50,000. Interest income earned 3 million into 4%, 120,000 into 4 by 12, 40,000. Amount to be capitalized 550,000 minus 40,000, 510,000. Also, as the asset was completed on 1st September, the interest for September needs to be charged to the statement of profit or loss as an expense. 6 lakh into 1 by 12, 50,000. Borrowing cost capitalized 5 lakh 10,000. Present value of dismantling cost add to working PPE cost 1583.63. See working 2. Provision for dismantling. The $3 million should be initially discounted to present value using Hudson cost of capital of 6% and capitalize $3 million payable in 11 years time from October 2012 to October 2013 by 30 lakh into 1 upon 1.06 raised to power 11, 15 lakh 80,363. The discount on the provision must also be unwound over the year. 1583.63 into 6%, 94,822 to be added to finance cost and to the closing provision. So present value of dismantling cost 1583.63, total to be capitalized 12,090,363. This should be depreciated over the useful life of 10 years as mining begins on 1st September. The depreciation should begin from this date. Depreciation 12,090,363 upon 10 into 1 by 12. 100,753. Carrying amount 12,090,363 minus 100,753 11,989,610. Depreciation 107,553. Staff recruitment and training 600,000. Finance cost 50,000 working 1 plus 94,822 working 2, 144,822. Statement of financial position as at 30th September 2013. Non-current asset property plant and equipment working 311,989,610. Non-current liability provision 1583,63 plus 94,822. 1675,185. Loan 100 or 10 million. Answer complete. Test your understanding 11. First, an entity purchased a property 15 years ago at a cost of $100,000 and have been depreciating at a rate of 2% per annum on the straight line basis. The entity have had the property professionally revalued at $500,000. What is the revaluation surplus that will be recorded in the financial statement in respect of this property? A. $400,000, B. $500,000, C. $530,000, D. $430,000. Answer 1D. 430,000. Current value 500,000. Carrying amount at the date of revaluation 1 lakh minus 1 lakh into 2% into 15 years 70,000. Revaluation gain is 430,000. Answer complete. Second part. An entity owns two buildings A and B which are currently recorded in the books at carrying amount of 170,000 and 330,000 respectively. Both buildings have recently been valued as follows. Building A 400,000, building B 250,000. The entity currently has a balance on the revaluation surplus of 50,000 which arose when building A was revalued several years ago. Building B has not been previously been revalued. What double entry will need to be made to record the revaluations of building A and B? A. Debit non-current asset 150,000. Debit statement of P&L 80,000. Credit other comprehensive income 230,000. Revaluation surplus. B. Non-current asset debit 150,000. Statement of profit or loss debit 30,000. Other comprehensive income revaluation surplus credit 180,000. C. Debit non-current asset 150,000. Credit other comprehensive income revaluation surplus 150,000. D. Non-current asset debit 150,000. Statement of profit or loss debit 50,000. Other comprehensive income credit revaluation surplus 200,000. Answer 2A is the right answer. Non-current asset 150,000. Statement of profit or loss 80,000. Other comprehensive income 2,30,000. Current value building A 400,000. Carrying amount 170,000. Revaluation gain 230,000. Building B current value 250,000. Carrying amount 330,000. 80,000 revaluation loss. The gain on building A will be credited to other comprehensive income and the revaluation surplus. The loss on building B will be debited to the statement of profit or loss. Expenses because we do not have a balance on the revaluation surplus in respect of building B to offset the loss. We make an overall debit to non-current asset of 230,000 minus 80,000 minus 50,000. Third part. On 1st April 2010, Slow and Steady company held non-current asset that cost 312,000 and had accumulated depreciation of 66,000 at this date. During the year ended 31st March 2011, Slow and Steady company disposed of non-current assets which had originally cost 28,000 and had a carrying amount of 11,200. Slow and Steady company's policy is to charge depreciation of 40% on reducing balance basis with no depreciation charge in the year of disposal. What is the depreciation charge to the statement of profit or loss for the year ended 31st March 2011? Answer. The answer is $93,920. Carrying amount at 1st April 2010, 3,12,000 cost minus 66,000 depreciation, 246,000. Carrying amount of disposal 11,200. Balance carrying amount at 31st March 2011, 234,800. Depreciation at 40%, 93,920. Answer complete. Fourth part. A building contractor decides to construct an office building to be occupied by his own staff. Tangible non-current assets are initially measured at cost. Which two of the following expenses incurred by the building contractor cannot be included as part of the cost of the office building? A. Interest incurred on a specific loan taken out to pay for the construction of the new office. B. Direct building labor cost. C. A proportion of the contractor's general administration cost. D. Hire of plant and machinery for use on the office building site. E. Additional design work caused by initial design errors. F, delivery cost in getting the raw materials onto site. Answer fourth. C and E are the right answer. As general borrowings are being used, the weighted average, fourth, C and E, direct costs relating to the acquisition of the asset can be included, such as labor costs, interest on loans to acquire the asset, and higher costs. The administration cost is not a direct cost. Also, costs relating to error or wastage cannot be capitalized. Answer fourth complete. Fifth question. The purpose of depreciation is to A. Allocate the cost less residual value on a systematic basis over the asset's useful life. B. Write the asset down to its realizable value each period. C. Accumulate a fund for asset replacement. D. Recognize the asset loss value that assets lose value over time. Answer A. Fifth. Allocate the cost less residual value on a systematic basis over the asset's useful life. Sixth part. An entity uses funds from its general borrowing to build a new production facility. Details of the entity's borrowing are shown below. $10 million, 6% loan, $6 million, 8% loan. The entity used $12 million of these funds to construct the facility, which was under construction for the entire year. How much interest should be capitalized as part of the cost of the asset? Answer. As general borrowing are being used, the weighted average cost of borrowing should be used. This is calculated by working out the interest on both loans and then dividing by the total borrowing. Therefore, the weighted average cost of borrowing is 10 million into 6% plus 6 million into 8% upon 16 million, 6.75%. As 12 million has been used, the interest to be capitalized is 12 million into 6.75%, 810,000. Answer 6th complete. 7th, manufacturing entity is entitled to a grant of $3 million for creating 50 jobs and maintaining them for 3 years. 1.5 million is received when the jobs are created, and the remaining 1.5 million is receivable after 3 years, provided that 50 jobs are still in existence. The entity creates 50 jobs at the beginning of year 1, and there is a reasonable assurance that this level of employment will be maintained. What is the deferred income balance at the end of the first year? Answer 7th. 500,000. The total grant income is 3 million to be recognized over a 3-year period. Annual income is therefore $1 million. At the end of the first year, the entity has received 1.5 million, of which $1 million has been recognized in the statement of profit or loss, leaving 500,000 deferred into future period. Answer complete. 8th. On 1st January 2011, Sly received $2 million from the local government on the condition that they employ at least 100 staff each year for the next 4 years. On this date, it was virtually certain that Sly would meet these requirements. However, on 1st January 2012, due to an economic downturn and reduced customer demand, Sly no longer needed to employ 100 staff. The conditions of the grant required full repayment. What should be recorded in the financial statements? A. Reduced deferred income balance by 1,500,000. B. Reduced deferred income by 1,500,000. Recognize a loss in the financial statement of $500,000. C. Reduced deferred income by 2 million. D. Reduce deferred income by 2 million and recognize a gain in the financial statement of 500,000. Answer 8. B. Reduce deferred income by 1,500,000. Recognize a loss in the financial statement of 500,000. B. The 2 million received will be credited to the statement of profit or loss over the 4-year grant period at the rate of $500,000 per annum. Therefore, after 1 year, 500,000 will have been released to the statement of profit and loss, and a balance of 1,500,000 will remain in deferred income. Full repayment of the grant is required, so the income recognized in the first year will now be reversed and the balance remaining on deferred income will be derecognized. So answer is B. Reduce deferred income by 1,500,000. Recognize a loss in the financial statement by 500,000. Answer complete. 9th. An entity purchased an investment property on 1st January 2013 for a cost of $3.5 million. The property had an estimated useful life of 50 years with no residual value, and at 31st December 2015 had a fair value of $4.2 million. On 1st January 2016, the property was sold for net proceeds of $4 million. Calculate the profit or loss on disposal under both the cost model and fair value model. Cost 0.71 million, fair value 0.2 million, loss cost 0.71 million. profit. B, cost 0.2 million profit, fair value 0.2 million gain. C, cost 0.5 million profit, fair value 0.2 million loss. D, cost 0.71 million gain, fair value 0.5 million gain. Answer 9th. A, under the cost model, the property will be depreciated over 50 years for 3 years up to the date of disposal. Therefore, at the disposal date, the carrying value would have been 3.5 million minus 3.5 upon 50 into 3, 3.29 million, and the profit on disposal 0.71 million, 4 million minus 3.29. Under the fair value model, the property will not be depreciated since the loss on disposal would be 0.2 million, 4 million minus 4.2 million. So answer A is okay. Cost 0.71 million profit, fair value 0.2 million loss. Part 10. Investment property with a useful life of 10 years was purchased by Econ on 1st January 2019 for 200,000. By 31st December 19, the fair value of the property had risen to 300,000. Econ measures the investment property under the fair value model. What values go through the statement of profit or loss in the year? Gain 100,000, depreciation 30,000. Gain 0, depreciation 30,000. C, gain 100,000 and depreciation 0. D, gain 120,000, depreciation of 20,000. Answer 10. C, under the fair value model, the property will not be depreciated and the gain on valuation would be 100,000, 300,000 minus 200,000. Answer 11th. With regard to borrowing costs related to specific borrowing used for the construction of a qualifying asset, match the description to the correct accounting treatment in the table below. Include in the calculation of non-current asset, investment income, finance cost. Interest earned on the investment of surplus borrowing before the construction period begins. Answer, investment income. Interest incurred after the construction period has ended. Finance cost. Interest incurred during the construction period, include in the calculation of non-current asset. Interest earned on the investment of surplus borrowings during the construction period, include in the calculation of non-current assets. Answer 11th complete. Chapter also gets completed. Thank you so very much.